presentation. The next presentation is by one of the international award-winning Bangladeshi architect who also traveled all the way from Bangladesh to share the same passion of architecture and design. He was with us in our Sydney event in 2008, couldn't make it in 2011, but here he is now back with us in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome architect Rafiq Azam for his presentation.
Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, it's my pleasure to be here today. My 15 minutes journey would be probably with the water. Water in light. Okay. Lalo, the mystic minister and philosopher of 18th and 19th century, once says, if there is one thing not inside your body, then it is not outside the body either. This basically means thinking exists, we exist. The soul and its envelope are the fundamental of the human form. The soul and the envelope are interdependent, yet independent. They belong to each other and they belong to themselves. Lalon, just mentioned, was abandoned as an infant and was found floating on the water. He floated from one river to another and was picked up at a point unknown. Philosophically, water was the source of his existence. And this great Bangladeshi philosopher came out of water. Bangladesh is the largest delta on earth with more than 50 major river channels, water through from Himalayas to the Bay of Bengal into very intricate pattern. Water the most dearly and plentiful, and life finally open with it, makes Bangladesh a country of toil, but a country of poetry. During monsoon, our rivers inundate 2/3 of the country's land, depicting water, the major element of landscape. But when water recedes, it leaves a fine layer of fertile, allowable soil, and the entire landscape transforms into large patches of paddy fields, dancing with the winds. This is how I am inspired to do watercolor painting. And these watercolor paintings inspire me to do architecture. The yellow harvest field, my painting, my architecture, breeze flowing over the water, swampy land, midday sun downing and stretching its last light to twilight. After the darkness, the first light touches the water, water and green becomes watercolor. Watercolor becomes architecture. Architecture becomes light. Light touches the space. Light touches the water. Water touches the life. Architecture is a complex phenomenon. It needs to think society and site, climate and context, tradition and typology, arts of architecture, and so on. Now I go up, water goes up, green goes up. We call it a swimming pond rather than swimming pool. Typologically, a swimming pond needs a jungle, a jangla and hatla. This is contextualization. I flow. I go to Malaysia. Thank you, sir. I go to Malaysia and water goes with me. This is the first building of Malaysia as commercial building got GBI certificate, the Green Building Certification. Malaysian brothers. Some of my friends told me that we can create poetry of architecture when the Lord is big and client is rich. But I don't believe that. To me, poetry of architecture can be achieved through social responsibilities. And we can do architecture small and abundant. As Heidegger says, yet poetically men dwells. The small building in a 400 years old Mughal city, 9 feet narrow alley, 400 feet stretch. We got a small land lot like 2,800 square feet, 280 square meter. And we produce small houses, 3 apartments in each floor, 450, 600, 700 square feet. But most interestingly, each and every apartment, 14 apartments is getting 14 gardens, belongs to them. The middle courtyard, the 4th level. This house is only 450 square feet, 45 square meter, and 4th level having their own garden. And somebody told me that, yeah, maybe okay, then we got another land half of the size, like 140 square meter, 140 square meter. And we tried to understand how we can utilize the land. It's a commercial land in an old big part of the city. And we found that in the city, we're supposed to have 4 important elements that we're missing nowadays. One is library in a neighborhood, and a gymnasium, a tea stall for gathering, sharing your knowledge, good health, and the grocery shop for daily use. So we suggested our client to put 4 things into this building. The basement is the library, and basically, as other speakers used to say, just already mentioned, in the front road you see, this was supposed to be a river, channel of the river, now funded by the World Bank, and made a beautiful road. So this river is gone. There's a narrow channel below the street. So we put the huge photograph of the old river, or this particular site, in the library. Now the place is the library for our beautiful history. And the chai stall on top 2 floors, and you can see the old building photographs will be projected from the slides from the projector that we are losing day by day to develop the awareness. And the horn is collecting the water again, so coming back to the water. Water is a very interesting phenomenon because in our country river goes up and down as per season changes. So you can see the winter plan. We can draw the winter plan. We can draw the monsoon plan when all the ghats, steps in the water is gone and the house is so. It's the rainy season, monsoon, and the winter, and the rainy season. There's an old saying in the village, house that facing south is the best. House that facing north, not as that. Having pond on the east is truly wise. Having bamboo bush on the west is that wise. So east pond, the ducks, south face house. Even I go for almost a dry country like Pakistan, I still look for water. In Islamabad, so we try to develop something. Land belongs to Pakistan, the building project belongs to Bangladesh, government of Bangladesh, the High Commission building. So we try to juxtapose to civilization basically, because you see, it's the sketches beside the Margala hill. This is Bangladesh, almost 2,500 years old, and this is the Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro. So you see how the similarity is coming up, and we juxtapose two things, and we call the side and the middle, the water body is the delta. We call it archaeological landscape, and meeting ground for two great civilizations. And this is the archaeological landscape, and we're coming back. In the middle, the huge area is dedicated to the water, and the huge shade, 500 feet long, straight concrete, is getting light and rainwater from Islamabad, a sustainable project. And of course, water is poetic and also very utilitarian, because this is the huge roof, the evaporation, the dry country is moisturizing the whole area, making the whole building around less consumption of electricity, the power. The early 19th century, the Bengali scientist Sir Jagadish Chandra Bosu, a friend of Einstein, revealed his new discovery that every tree has life and language, and has language to communicate in. Although as a physicist in profession he stepped into the territory of botanist, it was hard for him to convince the world every inanimate object has life. That's why he adopted a gradual path to prove that. For example, when Vivekananda says, I ask brick, what do you want to be? It says an arch. Just like Kitty's boy, it's all about feeling life. David, Moses, for Michelangelo, who tried to bring out the encaged life out of the stone. Does architecture have life? If architecture has life, then how does it express into dynamics of life? If Jagadish is about embedded life, then Lalon is about the dynamics of life. So here, Jagadish and Lalon come side by side. At a later point, Rabindranath Tagore, who connected Lalon and Bose together with his beautiful words, music, his philosophy, his words, and his spaces. To me, this tribe is the fundamental of Bangladesh architecture. Just like human body and soul, there is a body and soul of architecture. Here the human soul is thinking, and Mother Nature is the soul of architecture. Architecture similarly has two parts, the envelope and as the physical form, and the Mother Nature as the soul. A dingy boat waiting by heart, patched green and light with its silence. The destiny is nothingness, where soul and shell cohabit and purify themselves. Let the soul come inside the house and let go of it, and let it be, and let it be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robin. We have come towards the end of this part of the program, the final speech from a person who has very successfully trapped us all in this initiative and conveyed extraordinarily all BaA members to
to host Bringing Architects Together. His devotion and commitment towards this event is unquestionable. Can I please request you all to welcome the President of the Bangladeshi Architects in Australia and the convener of Bringing Architects Together, Shamik Wise.
Good evening, and thank you everyone for coming to this seminar. We formed the Bangladeshi Architects in Australia with a dream. The dream was to reinforce our ongoing relationships with the Australian Institute of Architects and the Institute of Architects in Bangladesh as a group of professionals to share knowledge, experiences, or just to have good times together. Another part of the dream was to create an environment of ongoing support for the younger architects coming from Bangladesh to settle here in Australia. Today, we have launched another dream, bringing architects together with our peer groups, our community, and by exploring ways to remit our knowledge, experiences, and achievements for the development of Bangladesh and other developing countries. As you already know, this event is a continuation of ongoing series of architectural seminars, exhibitions, and gatherings of architects in Australia, hosted by us, Bangladeshi Architects in Australia. This exhibition gives us a sense of belonging and sense of empowerment as part of a professional group who share similar passion in architecture. This week-long event will also include visits to different Australian cities and architectural masterpieces. This gives us opportunities to also share award-winning architectural works with Bangladeshi Australian communities around Australia. To us, this is the reconfirmation of a new era, opening of new doors, and new networking opportunities. And it has been only possible by AIA, IAB, and the Bangladeshi High Commission who have supported us to share this opportunity with architecture from Bangladesh and Australia. I also like to thank our valued sponsors. Without your financial support, we wouldn't be able to complete this event with such huge success. Today, I would like to put forward 4 recommendations for all Australian architects, IAB, academics to consider. These are: BaA would request Australian architects to consider to offer short-term internship for Bangladeshi young architects living or studying in Australia. Thank you, ILAC, who already have offered and informed us about some scholarship opportunities today. I'm sure this opportunity will go a long way in building relationships between architects. Secondly, I would ask IAB to review its constitution to allow members of overseas organizations like BaA to become members or to continue their memberships with IAB. Mubashir Hussain already informed about the constitutional changes at IAB today. I'm very happy to see this happening tonight. Thirdly, academics from Bangladesh and Australia to discuss ways to offer student exchange programs to support graduates from both countries to achieve required accreditation, and finally to Bangladesh government to create opportunities for BaA as a group to contribute pro bono works in Bangladesh. Honorable High Commissioner already encouraged us about this in his speech, and we would also be happy if Secretary could convey this to the government of Bangladesh as well. Thank you all, again, particularly to AIA Victoria and New South Wales chapters and BaA Kamlas from all over Australia. Well done. This event wouldn't have happened without you all. It has been a long, arduous month where you played a great role bringing architects together. I feel very proud to work with you all. I also like to thank all our speakers and guests who have come all the way here in BMW Square to share their experiences and this evening with us. Thank you all. Please enjoy the exhibition and networking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Shamik Wise, for sharing your true feeling, your dream, and our future vision. We will be with you all the way. Just to conclude on a serious note, I would certainly recommend you to spend considerable time at the exhibition. I know it's quite late, but I think it's worthwhile spending some time. But before proceeding to the exhibition, I would request Shamik Wise, our BaA President, and some of my fellow MCs to distribute a small token of memorabilia to our honorable guests and speakers. So I would call the name of our speakers and guests, and I would request one by one to come in front of the stage, and one of my fellow members will actually give our small token of the symbol of BaA. So, Lieutenant General Masududdin Chaudhry, Honorable High Commissioner for Bangladesh in Australia. Thank you. Dr. Khandukar Shaukat Hussain, Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Public Works, Government of Bangladesh. We would actually request you to stay here so we can have a photo opportunity later. Dr. Shaukat and General Masood would like you to stay here if that's all right. And Architect Shelley Penn, National President of the Institute of Architects. Architect Mubashir Hussain, President, Commonwealth Association of Architects and President, Institute of Architects, Bangladesh. Architect Louis Cox, one of the greatest friends of Bangladeshi architect in Australia. Architect Alex Chan, another personality who is a great supporter of overseas architects. The Chief Architect of Bangladesh Government, Architect Ahsanul Haq Khan. President of ARCASIA, another friend of Bangladeshi architects, Architect George Kunihiro. President-elect ARCASIA, Architect P. In Tan. Now, the serious people, the academics who are we really scared of, Professor Abu Saeed from Bangladesh. The young architect who is changing the face of Dhaka, our lovely capital, Architect Iqbal Habib. And our favorite people of all, our sponsor, Sayyid Pervez Reza Latif. And our platinum sponsor, Muhammad Abdul Awal. And obviously the next person that I'm going to invite in front of the stage is a good friend of Bangladesh who already announced that in 2013 they're planning to do some development work or work in Bangladesh. Architect Paul Fullers out of Australia. Architect Gregory Burgess. And our friend, Architect Rafiq Azam. I believe this is one of the greatest moments in Bangladeshi architect in Australia's history over the last few years. We never had so many great people with us ever, and we hope to have these people and more people next year when we will come back summer in Australia. But finally, I must again thank all the people that helped us to stage this event, particularly our Melbourne friends. As I mentioned, architects and non-architects friends work together. But remember, we are now part of an historic event. As Architect Mubashir mentioned, this is probably the biggest Bangladeshi Architects Association or gathering in the world, first time ever in Australia, Melbourne. And please do not forget to meet us for the second day of our program tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Monash University, Clayton campus, building number 68. You have a folder and we have got the program inside your folder. We hope to see you again tomorrow. And again, in the national language of Bangladesh, I would say thank you, which is Dhonnobad. And I am just informed that we have some food for all the guests. Please feel free to take some food on the top foyer where our exhibition is.